top 10 best transfers from this summer, this season. But I gotta say, Breton, can you hear me okay? How are you?
I'm doing. It feels like it's been a while since I've done one of these with you, and I guess life has gotten a little bit busy here. But hey, I'm happy to be here. I think we're gonna have a very different top 10 list this time around than obviously we will 6 months from now when we do this again at the end of the season.
Maybe.
But this is always fun to do. But you want to know what makes me sad right now?
Tell me.
Here's what makes me sad. There is so much football. I should be happy, right? I should be happy all the time.
Yes.
But now I'm hearing that N'Golo Kante is likely out of the World Cup. That Reece James might miss the World Cup.
That's unfortunate. It's definitely unfortunate. But yes, sticking with the top 10, just before we get started, community, tell us down below your top 10 or must player that must be in our list for the top 10 and the best one, okay? I think for a lot of people the best one will be the same, but let's stick with the best one for the end of this video, okay? But yes, I'm gonna start here with my 10 okay? I had to go Wonderkid. FC Wonderkid, so I went with Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons, for me, is a top 10 signing this season for his goal involvements, okay? 9 goal involvements this season for Xavi Simons, which is the same as Jamal Musiala, one of the best Wonderkids in the world. And for me, they got him for 5 million. 5 million, but Luis Campos had to get that buyback clause for 10, 12 million, man, which is masterclass by him. So
that is masterclass. I feel sheepish here. I feel a little embarrassed because somehow, some way, I forgot Xavi Simons, and while there are a lot of people that could make their way onto this top 10, especially with the Wonder Kids that we'd be looking at, Xavi Simons, that is a great signing. I certainly was not 100% sure that he was just going to slot into that very high-octane offense of PSV Eindhoven, and I am so happy to see that Xavi Simons has literally just hit the ground running. So my number 10, I got to get my bias out of the way. I have a little bit of an American bias, being an American, but this one is warranted. And it's 10th in a top 10. So come on, don't lose your ish over it. My number 10 is not Brendan Aronson. It's not Brendan Aronson from Philadelphia. It is Tyler Adams for Leeds United. And think of it this way, okay? He's one of the top tacklers in the league. He's up there in the same stats that João Palhinha is up there. He's up there in the same stats that if Calvin Phillips... Right, and if Calvin Phillips was healthy for Manchester City, he's doing one hell of a job at Leeds United. Tyler Adams is covering that defensive part that made Calvin Phillips so good. Now, Calvin Phillips could also turn it on and be part of the attack. Tyler Adams has not figured that out, but he's an endless engine. He is, let me see here. He is second in the top 5 leagues in dribblers tackled. He's 5th in successful pressures. This is in the top 5 leagues. Now, he runs like 8+ miles, 9+ miles a game. He's also top 10 in interceptions, and he's just a hell of an engine. He never stops for Leeds.
Just Marsh effect.
And the bigger part of this is he costs 17 million euros.
Great buy.
Right?
Great buy for the player.
And what was Phillips for City? 59?
And Palhinha was even more, too.
Yeah, but Palhinha was still a bargain. He was still a bargain.
Facts.
So Tyler Adams is my number 10.
And I love how you're saying Palhinha because no joke, I could put my notes here. My number 9, it's Palhinha, okay? Number 9 in my top 10 best transfer this summer. João Palhinha, because you said it. Most in tackles, he's one of the best. And the impact for Fulham. Okay, Fulham is top 12 maybe this season because of a signing of João Palhinha next to Andrés Pereira, which allows Mitrovic, Daniel James, all these players to go bold. So Mark Silva ball is real in my opinion, and João Palhinha is my number 9 best transfer this season. Yes.
Yeah, and this is weird because he's my number 9 as well. João Palhinha is my number 9 as well. And listen, Fulham has stepped down in form as of late. They just suffered a pretty tough defeat that was kind of referee aided, if you will. But João Palhinha continues to be one of those signings where you go, how in the hell is this team, no offense, or how in the hell is this player, no offense to Fulham at all, but how the hell is this player playing for Fulham in the Premier League? Okay. And he lifts up a team. I mean, he gives them a chance, as you mentioned previously, and he's obviously been Marco Silva's best addition. And, he counts for maybe 5 of Nottingham Forest's 22 signings in terms of effect for what he has on Fulham, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But even if he can't keep Fulham top table, I think everybody's going to see here that in the end, if they're not sucked into the relegation battle that you and I predicted, it is likely going to be because of Mitrovic and João Palhinha.
Facts. Fulham went bold. I love that. And just before we get to the number 8s, tell us down below, do you agree with our number 9 and 10? And tell us your number 9 and 10 in the comment section. And don't forget to like this video for more content just like this. So number 8, okay, on my list, I wanted to go impact, okay, and not so much in stats, but I think this player is the reason why United is improving a lot. And my number 8 is Lisandro Martinez, okay? He's my number 8 this season because if Dalot's balling, if Malacia was a great signing, it's because they have Martinez playing definitely instead of Maguire, man, next to Varane. Okay, Martinez's impact, passion-wise, emotion-wise on that team, he will never go against Erik ten Hag. And that's why I think Lisandro Martinez will give his heart for Man United. And again, thank you for developing so well with Diogo Dalot, okay? And 57 million, great deal, okay? Long-term for Man United, okay? They could have spent much more like they did with Maguire. So number 8, Lisandro Martinez. Hello.
Do you remember how rocky those first 2 games were and how people were so ready to turn on Lisandro Martinez, or Lucha, right? That's what they call him. No, he's been a great signing, and I think if you're going to rebuild the defense, if there's one player that's not going anywhere over the next 3, 5, 7 years at Manchester United, it's Lisandro Martinez. He is there to become that kind of foundational effect for Manchester United. So I love that, even though he's not on my top 10. It's a great signing. Number 8 for me, though. Number 8 for me just got some bad news. Okay. Number 8 for me is injured for the foreseeable future. He might be out the next month or 2. He might miss the World Cup for Argentina. But the impact that he has had for AS Roma, yes, my number 8 best signing of the season so far is Paulo Dybala. The impact that he has had for Mourinho's Roma has been undeniable. He's already outscored his Juventus stats from last season, and he's got a whole bunch of games left. And hopefully, I'm pretty certain that when he comes back, hopefully for the World Cup, but if not, in 2023, hopefully he continues to kick on. 7 goals, 2 assists, 11 games. So tough. I think it was a quad injury. And unfortunately, Dybala, obviously coming into this, you know that he has this injury history, and it was a calculated risk to bring him into this Roma setup, and one I'm sure they would do over and over again. And let's be honest, he's not out for the next 6 months. He's out for the next month or 2. True. It just couldn't come at a worse time for one of the favorites at the World Cup in Qatar. So Paulo Dybala is my number 8. He'd probably be higher if it weren't for some of the quality signings we're going to bring up in the near future.
A lot of ballers, man. No Martinez, okay, but you have Dybala, and I don't have Paulo Dybala in my top 10, man, because so many, man, great transfers. And I'm going to say here my 7th, man, and he might be in your top 5, man, honestly. And that's why I love doing this. My number 7 is Tchouaméni, okay? In terms of player that he's going to be, I think Tchouaméni might have 100% is a top 5 player for this list. But in terms of signing, he's replacing Casemiro too, which big responsibility and great business from Real Madrid, selling Casemiro for 70 and getting Tchouaméni for 80 straight away and 20 in bonuses. Okay, 100 million transfer. What a signing. Rebuild the Galactico way by Florentino Perez. And I just what I said. He's replacing Casemiro. So he's definitely a worthy number 7 in this list. Tchouaméni. France, man. with no Kante.
Yeah.
100%, okay? And he's going to
already
be key. Love it.
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna say it right now. Your number 7, having Chouameni at number 7 is just criminal. It should be higher. What he has done at his age, I mean, he has just looked every bit the part and every bit the 10 million euros extra for Casemiro. And I think it's the one big signing they can look at Real Madrid and say, wow,
it's a big money sign.
It is, and it's been. I think he's the only one you can look at amidst that top 10 of most expensive transfers over the summer, and beyond one we're going to mention that's probably number 1. I mean, this is like you spend this much and you get right away exactly what you need, and Chouameni has been every bit of that. So anyway, I'll get back.
There's a lot of players like that.
I have him higher, and I think it's a little. I think I understand where you're going with this, but my number 7, and I think you might have him higher. My number 7 is a player I've been touting since back at River, and it's not Julian Alvarez, but 7 for me is Enzo Fernandez, and I know you think he's going to be higher, and I agree that by the end of the season he most likely will be higher. But what I am going to say is I'm basing it off of his Champions League. I think we need to get into more the meat of. He's already too good for the Primera Liga. He's already too good.
Fact.
Okay,
Fact.
So really, I'm only focusing on Benfica in the Champions League for me. And yeah, he's up there in tackles 1, pressures 1, interceptions in the Champions League. I mean, Enzo Fernandez has every bit. I know you said he might not last more than a season with Benfica because of how good he is.
100% doesn't. I could say.
I think I might agree with you here. Number 7 does feel a little low now that I'm, saying it out loud. But when I look at the other ones, we've just swapped a couple places here. Enzo Fernandez, great signing. I think you're going to say more about him in the near future.
Well, I agree. For me, he's a great signing. But I want to ask you this: how good do you think Enzo is against Jude Bellingham? Out of curiosity, do you think, and how much do you think he's gonna get? How much is Enzo worth for you? More than 60? 100%?
Considering if he can continue this form throughout the end of the season, then I will be confident saying he's worth 60. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's no dip in form after the World Cup, and he comes back and he's just kind of rip roaring again, and again, it is the Primera Liga compared to. For me, he's gonna leave for 70 to 80 million. Enzo Fernandez. I think that's the amount of money because I think Benfica is gonna have a deep run in the Champions League. The fact that PSG couldn't beat, it's PSG, man. Neymar had clear intent, Mbappe clear intent, and man, Enzo, Florentin Luis has to be mentioned more. Playing next to Enzo, balling out and matching his levels. Man, I love this Benfica team. Roger Schmidt is underrated too. I was wrong about Roger Schmidt, but yes, I'm loving how we're talking. Love that number 7. Okay, but tell us down below your thoughts about Enzo too. But okay, my number 6 here. I have to say this player because the fact that Barca got this player, he's saving them as much as he can this season. And my number 6 is Robert Lewandowski. In terms of quality, no denying he's top 3 in this list. Yeah. He has to be. 12 goals, 11 games. Okay. Robert Lewandowski is doing as much as he can to be that key player that Xavi said he's going to be. Giving guarantees. Lewandowski's giving guarantees to Barca. And man, he's for me is the best signing out of Condes, Rafinha, all of them. He's the star of them. Lewandowski. And I just want to say this, man. No more Jordi Alba, no more Busquets, and no more Piqué. No more, man. Lewandowski doesn't deserve that in the Champions League, man. That's it. Trust the youth. That's it. And you say you put him at 6th on this list?
Yeah.
You put him at 6th? I'm going to be honest here. I thought I was the guy that had bias against Barcelona here, but man, I got him higher because of the impact he's had for Barcelona. Barcelona, the only reason they can still get out of their group, even though there's just a little shred of hope right now.
Will get me. Trust.
is because of Lewandowski. Yeah, I've got him higher. I'm going to tell you that right now. I got him much higher on this list.
I don't see just quality. It's quality, impact, and how much they cost. That's my three. But let's see. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. All right. Well, here's my six. I would love to open this up to the floor, but it comes down to the Napoli signings that are not Kvaradona. Okay. So the Napoli signings like Frank Anguissa, Giacomo Raspadori, and Min Jae Kim. Right now, I'm going to have to say, based on Raspadori being so damn opportunistic
baller,
and scoring his goals in the Champions League, I'm going to say, and for the amount that he costs, right? I'm going to say Raspadori for number 6, even though you could slot in Anguissa there, you could slot in Min Jae Kim, who is the unsung hero. Nobody's missing Kalidou Koulibaly at Napoli. You and I thought that there was going to be a gaping hole in that Napoli defense. Min Jae Kim has been huge, and the only reason we probably don't talk about him that much is because of his nationality. One, but Raspadori, I'm gonna say here. I know that, but Napoli has made some insanely shrewd, beautifully financially prudent decisions in the transfer market, and literally every one of them has panned out so far.
I agree.
Every one of them. So I have a tough time picking my 6, but it's one of Anguissa, Raspadori, and Min Jae Kim. And Spalletti deserves all the credit in the world for literally being able to seamlessly put these guys together and get Napoli kicking. So number 6 is kind of like that Napoli complementary signings group without putting in Kvaratskhelia because he comes later.
I love how you're thinking about Champions League here. And number 6 to dedicate to Napoli, that's beautiful, man. Because, man, that team has to be mentioned more. And we're going to have some shouts. I'm going to have some shouts, man, when I mentioned Kvaradona, which he's in this list. But I'm not going to mention him just now. But people, I see comments here. Tell us down below your best player, okay? We want to know. And don't forget to like this video, man. Drop a like. It's a huge help for me and Bretson. But yes, we're top 5. We're in the top 5 talk already.
We are.
Loving the pace. And I gotta say, my top 5, you're gonna understand my way of thinking here, because my number 5 best transfer this summer is Ferran Jutgla from Club Brugge, okay? For the first time in history, Club Brugge went through in the Champions League. 0 goals conceded, 7 goals scored, and Jutgla had 2 man-of-the-match performances, man. Key player for Club Brugge, and left for 5 million Barcelona. Okay, I understand he won't play ahead of Lewandowski, man, but those are options. Ferran Jutgla's playing better than Ferran Torres, man. So I definitely have to put him in my top 5, because it's criminal not to have a top 5 player in the list if Club Brugge is performing this way, playing as well as Napoli, and they've invested even less, maybe. So I have to. Ferran Jutgla, man, go to the World Cup too. Like, what?
Yeah. It is. Once again, I am sheepish because I don't have Ferran Jutgla on my list, and I 100% agree with you in the sense that Club Brugge doing what they're doing and employing and using as many U23 players as they've been using, they absolutely deserve to have somebody on this list. And they've also had massive roster turnover. You know, you could mention in there the fullback Bjorn Meyer. You could mention Andreas Skov-Olsen. You could mention any number of these guys, but Ferran Jutgla has been like a slam dunk, to use NBA terms. He has just been absolutely ruthless in terms of his finishing for them. Whether or not
goals, 5 assists in 8 games.
Making history, and also you got to give credit to the development system at Barcelona, because for a guy
Espanyol though. He was at
Espanyol before that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. 1 season at Barca. It was like 1 season. But still.
Well, Espanyol is in Barcelona, is it not?
It's true. That's facts.
Oh, my goodness. Well, listen, that's a great shout out. And also, shout out to Club Brugge for that ridiculous milestone. 0 goals conceded. Facts. Simone Mignolet has turned back time, stood on his head that 4th game. Absolutely unreal achievement. Yeah. All right. My number 5. Mm-hmm. You ready? Okay. My number 5 is Aurelien Tchouameni. Okay. undroppable at the moment, as you mentioned. He's starting for Real Madrid right away. Everybody's kind of already forgotten about Casemiro. Not entirely, but come on. You see the future with Tchouaméni. And on top of that, as you mentioned, with N'Golo Kante out, Aurélien Tchouaméni will 100% start for France as they look to exercise the curse or beat the curse, whatever you want to call it, and get out of this group, even with Kylian Mbappe turning into the world's craziest footballing villain as it stands. But listen, not just Tchouaméni here. I mean, I'm looking at the future, and if they get Jude Bellingham, if they get Camavinga in the starting lineup, because he's been serviceable this year as well, and you get Jude Bellingham, and you have Rodrigo stepping it up under Ancelotti. You got Vinny Jr. I mean, you're one striker away from literally dominance, potentially. Barcelona is going to have a few words about this, but dominance in La Liga and Champions League for the next 10 years. Agreed. Now, whether or not that happens, that's a different story. But Aurélien Tchouaméni is one of those things where they spent 80 million expecting him to come in and do well. But did they really expect him to step in and be like the guy from day one?
I think they did.
Probably not, right?
I think Real did. But like, there's a comment here. Is he going to be better than Kante? The potential of Tchouaméni going to Real so young, I think the potential should be better than Kante. Personally, Tchouaméni. And that's levels, man. Levels. And I love it, man. Top 5. He deserves to be in this top 5, man. Great mention.
He doesn't. And just an aside on Kante was a late bloomer. He was a late bloomer.
True.
So if we're talking about Tchouaméni being as good as Kante by 26, 27 years old, I think he will be. But until then, at this age, Aurélien Tchouaméni should not be as good as he is, and he absolutely is incredibly good, world class.
The way he reads the game is miles ahead of a lot of midfielders, the majority. So yeah, I love it. So yeah, top 4 territory. I'm singling here, but yeah, you must be thinking, when is he gonna save Enzo, man? Yeah, it's now. Enzo Fernandez is my number 4 of best transfers this summer, okay? And I'll explain why. 15 million for a player that must 100% start for Argentina next to Messi to win the World Cup. That for me is a bargain, okay? And I'm gonna say, Rodri next to Enzo Fernandez next season would be world class. Enzo Fernandez next to Pedri next season would be world class. And that's the level of Enzo Fernandez right now. Most attempted passes in the top 7 leagues. And I gotta say, the passion he has, the hunger, and the demand for his teammates to be at the same level as him. Enzo Fernandez is the real deal. I'm sold, man. I've seen everything I gotta see. I watched 90 minutes, of Benfica all the season. And Enzo is no joke. World-class, man, levels this season at Benfica. Benfica's going to go far in the Champions League. I respect Club Brugge, what they did, but in the next stage, I think Benfica, with the right second place, maybe, they'll go bold. So Juve was shook. So I got to say. And Nedge, man. Shout out to Nedge. I'd love to say him just to mention in this video. Shout out to Nedge.
Yeah, he didn't even play in the last game, right? He didn't even play against PSG.
No
Messi, injured. Well, no, Enzo has been every bit of a superstar coming in there that I think Benfica fans could have asked for. I think he's probably also the reason Marcelo Gallardo only getting 15 million for him at River. I bet you Gallardo's like, I can't do this. I'm done. and that's why he's stepping down at River, and he likely is going to find himself in Europe next season.
We got 100 million mentioned comments for Enzo Fernandez in the comments section, man. Okay, 100 million, man. This is Benfica we're talking about. They know how to do business, man. I gotta say that.
Well, that's João Felix numbers, and João Felix right now is
next January.
He's going to leave. 100%. Well, we can talk about that later.
Yes.
But that's a great number 4. And I think, there's a variability here. It's all subjective. And ultimately, he has had himself one ridiculous season in Benfica. 4 games in. They're 100% through, right? To the round of 16?
Not 100, but I think,
Almost
Benfica,
there?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That Juve. So bad. Well, Allegri there, they are 100% Benfica.
Oh my gosh.
Champions League. And so
yeah. Juve. All right, my number 4, and excuse the helicopter that's coming outside my window here. How unprofessional, Mr. Helicopter. All right, number 4. Number 4 for me, I got to go with top of the table Premier League. I got to go with Gabriel Jesus at 52 million, okay? Here, this is a weird one for me because you look at a signing and you go, oh my, that signing is 100% going to work out, right? And then normally when you look at it 2 months later, you're like, well, it didn't work out, okay?
Well,
Gabriel Jesus, though, is one of those ones where both you and I looked at it and we said, we really like this one. Like, this one is going to work. It's going to do really, really well. Arteta just is finally going to have a guy that can feed off of the creative presence of Odegaard, of, Smith Rowe, come back. Saka and the link-ups here that have been built and that they're fostering at Arsenal. And 100% it has worked so far. Has he missed chances? Absolutely. Does he dilly-dally on the ball sometimes? Absolutely. Does he score an assist? Absolutely. Gabriel Jesus has been every bit worth the money, to the point where he's also top 5, I got to say, in the league. Top 5 in the league in non-penalty XG. Okay, he's higher than Kane. He's higher than Tammy Abraham. I'm sorry, he's top 5 in the top 5 leagues, not just the Premier League. Higher than Tammy, higher than Messi, higher than Neymar, higher than Mueller, higher than Harry Kane. And I get it. The running joke right now that has been circulating around Twitter is that Pep Guardiola got so sick of winning the Premier League all the time that he decided to anoint an assistant manager and give them 2 of, their most effective players and their most versatile players, so that he could have a worthy opponent in the Premier League.
But Saliba too.
Guardiola
wasn't expecting Saliba to be in the mix.
I don't think so. Arsenal's a credible contender for top 3. If and Gabriel Jesus is a big reason why. So he's my number 4.
I love it. Great mention at number 4 because yes, he's in my number 3 position, Gabriel Jesus, okay? Why he's my number 3 best transfer this summer, Gabriel Jesus? The impact. Top of the league Arsenal, okay, because of this player. In my opinion, Arteta ball, the clear opposite of Aubameyang, okay, for Arteta is Gabriel Jesus. Discipline, will do anything he asks, and he's got the mad pace at the right timing, okay? Aubameyang doesn't drop to the wings as the same way and doesn't have the same work rate as Gabriel Jesus, in my opinion. And the youth trusts Gabriel Jesus. He's a voice and a leader in that locker room, and Arteta needs voices that backed him in that Arsenal locker room. Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, and I think Saliba is a big voice now. Definitely at 21, starting for France 100% in my opinion in this World Cup. So Arteta ball, Gabriel Jesus, 52 million too, mate. That is insane, okay? Insane for a striker. Newcastle spent 70 million for Alexander Isak. I'm not saying he's not worth 70, but Arsenal spent 52 because Arteta knows that Gabriel Jesus, and they knew they were going to go insane, those two. So that's why. Right. Top 3.
Yeah, that's, I think we're thinking very similarly, except now my number 3, and I still can't. You really had Lewandowski at 6?
Yeah. Because of the impact, man. They're not going to maybe go through out of the Champions League. Okay? I don't like that.
Yeah.
And Ferran
Yeah, I got you. But the only reason they're as high as they are in the league right now is also because of Robert Lewandowski. I mean, he's had the impact. He's more than gotten rid of my worry and concern about the price via his age or because of his age. All that concern is gone. Robert Lewandowski, if you give him a chance, he will eat it up and he will score it. And he is, like, first off, I got to say, that game, that Inter Milan Barcelona 3-3, that was a ridiculous game. That was just so fun to watch if you're a neutral outsider. If you're a Barca fan, you were probably ripping out your hair. But ultimately, Lewandowski, I just got to say, I was not expecting it to be as sudden and as stark of an impact as him having as he has had so far coming into this Barcelona side. And they're going to need him. they're going to need him more, and they're
Facts.
definitely going to need him on Sunday. Right?
Facts. And
So
I agree, man. Top 3 for me, Impact, definitely Lewandowski. Has to be there, okay? But it's just, I just believe that in terms of like quality for the how much it costs too, like he was 45 million, man. And 45 million for a player his age. But still, I agree, world-class levels. And going with that, okay, my number 2, I have to say him as my number 2. Kvisha Kvaratskhelia is my number 2 of best transfers this summer. Because honestly, if he went to Real Madrid or Liverpool next season, I wouldn't be surprised, mate. 21 years old. With the impact he's had, okay? This is insane. 13 games, Kvisha Kvaratskhelia, 7 goals, 7 assists. 5 goal involvements in Champions League 2, and they're the most in shots completed. They have the most points in Serie A. They have the most shots too in the Champions League. So Napoli is going bold this season, and like Ajax, they must hate Kvisha Kvaratskhelia and that Napoli team. 10 goals suffered in the space of 8 days. Champions League humble right there, man. And Napoli showing to the world that they're real contenders. Haven't stopped. So I'm not going to stop, and he's my number 2. Number 2.
Yeah. And why stop there? Because Kvisha Kvaratskhelia is my number 2 as well. You've already got it. You threw the stats out there. All I got to say is if there's a definition of bargain buy,
facts.
Kvisha Kvaratskhelia is a bargain buy, and he will go for 5-10 times the price. 10 times. Easy. In the very near future. Yeah, and here's the crazy thing.
Yes.
It's amazing what 12 months will do, right? Kvisha Kvaratskhelia was seen as a promising player in the Russian Premier League. True. But obviously what's going on geopolitically and stuff we don't want to talk about because this is lighthearted, he became essentially a bargain basement type of situation, and Napoli was monitoring him while he was at Dinamo Batumi, which is, I believe it's a hometown team. I don't know if it was his actual hometown in Georgia. But he was scoring goals left and right, as he should, to keep razor sharp instead of just sitting there and waiting for somebody to come along. True. Napoli saw it, brought him in, and he is just... I was not expecting his slight frame, his lack of physicality, one could say. I thought was going to kind of be a tough road for him into Serie A, but he has proven pretty much everybody wrong, one. And two, he's so ruthlessly direct, right? Like it's so progressive. Like progressive is such a cliche thing like to name right now because it's all over our statistics and whatnot, but like that literally is him. When he gets the ball, he only wants to go forward. And he continues to do that, and nobody has an answer for it yet. The only answer is to knock him down, and he serves the ball in, and Raspadori finishes it, or somebody else finishes it. True. So it's a really, really nice system that Spalletti, or lack of system, that Spalletti has built in order to accentuate his strengths, in order to accentuate and minimize the risk that comes from him being so damn direct. The other reason he probably didn't go for that much is because he's a Georgian player. This is not a player. He's not French. He's not English. If he was English, he'd be worth 60 million, even if he was playing in the Russian Premier League. So, Kvaratskhelia, Napoli, you guys have done something right. It's still a small sample size, but man, is it one hell of a pristine sample size that we've seen so far. And we'll see if Napoli continues. But a rightful number 2, before we get to the heir or the I don't know. He looks like a Game of Thrones Targaryen, so or House of Dragon Targaryen. So we got to put him at number 1. Who's your number 1, Alex?
My number 1 is Erling Haaland. Okay, at 22, this man has 13 games, 20 goals with consistency. We're talking here about one of the greatest strikers of all time, 100%. And I'm not gonna go bold. Club says he's the best striker at the moment, okay? And it's facts. It's facts, okay? Haaland is the best striker. And for 60 million, He chose Man City because it was the best decision for himself, playing-wise. And I got to respect his team and Haaland, okay, to have that mentality. And that's a Ballon d'Or. He's a trophy, a Champions League way of getting that Ballon d'Or. Erling Haaland, man. Great decision. Next to De Bruyne, next to Foden. Akanji, what a buy that was, man. He's got to be mentioned more. And maybe Jude Bellingham next season goes to Man City too, because there's a Haaland there, man. So he's my number 15 Premier League goals too. Just want to say that. And I have to say this too. There's a report, and I do believe it's very real. In 2024, there's a clause of 200 million for Erling Haaland, okay? And I 100% believe he will go to Real Madrid if that option's available. If they need a replacement for Benzema, okay? And I really think, and it's gonna be scary times, man. Galactico.
It is. If they can wrangle, say, Camavinga, you've got Tchouaméni. You've got Valverde probably still in there. Come on, who else?
Vini.
Bellingham, if you bring Bellingham in. You got Vinny, you got Rodrigo on either side, and you got Haaland up top. Come on.
I really think there will be another winger too, man. Maybe a Rafinha.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I don't know where all this... you could do that, because he probably won't go from 10 million to 100 million, but who the hell knows? But that was going to be my point with Haaland, is like they could have bought him for 180 million last season, right? And he'd still be worth it as it stands, because I mean everybody's talking about Haaland. I got people that are not even watchers of football here that know who Erling Haaland is because of just this look, and probably because of the fact that he does look like a Targaryen from House of Dragon because of his hair. But ultimately, like, it is insane what he's doing. And he's going to have a massive test this weekend, right? And whether or not he can continue to do it at the highest level is going to be huge. We all said it all comes down to his injury history. It all comes down to whether or not he kind of puts himself out of the game. And we'll see. But with that said, give a little love to Cody Gakpo, because the only person that is outpacing an Erling Haaland this season in goal involvements. Yes, there's a difference in quality of opponent, but Cody Gakpo's got 24 goal involvements this season to go with Haaland's 23. But no doubt,
he's going to be in the
Erling Haaland.
Next list, Cody Gakpo's there.
No doubt, Erling Haaland is the number one transfer of the season so far. And when we do this 6 months from now, my guess is he's going to remain number one.
And I want to give shouts here to like Man United players, Eriksen, Casemiro, Anthony. I think if Man United will end top 4, that's hella bold to say right now. It's because these players are going bold for Man United with Erik ten Hag. Shout outs to Chelsea. I think long term these transfers are going to pan out as not as bad. Cucurella, Fofana, Sterling, Conor Gallagher loan back. Just so it's like I really think things are gonna go well. Richarlison shout out in London with Tottenham, and I wanted to say West Ham finally getting a striker right, man, with Scamacca, and behind him Luke Paqueta. Paqueta is a real baller, real skiller. He's the real deal at West Ham. So those two great signings. I want to give shouts.
And Lucas Paqueta is about the most non-David Moyes signing that anyone would ever expect, and it is kind of surprising that it is starting to kind of work out for them. Paqueta has looked very good their last few fixtures, and Scamacca is starting to score. So who knows? I mean, when we do this 6 months from now, we might be putting some other names in there. I want to throw out some shout-outs to Rafinha. Okay.
Yeah.
I know the last few games, a lot of people are, him and Dembele have been relatively wasteful, blah, blah, blah. But come on. Early in this season, right, and it really wasn't that long ago, Rafinha and Dembele were the two most dangerous wingers on the planet for a while.
They still are, man.
And I agree with that. I do agree with that. I 100% agree with that. They just have had a little bit of a falling away. And also, those types of defensive gaffes, like what you saw with PK and all that fun stuff, that will get anybody down, whether you're an attacker or a defender. I know. But let me go through a couple more here, because we didn't mention Vitinha. Silent,
Drew,
calm. the silent killer, the silent whatever. He has been immensely effective for PSG. Immensely effective for PSG. It just doesn't really show up on the stats that you're going to look at unless you really dive in. And I think there's a lot of people out there that would say that. And if he was playing for somebody else aside from PSG, that the headlines are not dominated by Mbappe, then, I think he deserves more credit. I'm going to throw out there, you already mentioned Akanji for City. I'm going to throw out two that we would not have necessarily thought about. James Tarkowski for Everton. This guy is he's a clearance monster. Okay, he is a clearance monster. He is one-dimensional as it comes when it comes to a defender. He sacrifices his body. He sacrifices his soul. He sacrifices everything he can to make sure that ball does not go in the net. And he had a lot of practice doing it because he played for Burnley for a really long time. So James Tarkowski for Everton is why Everton is, him, Connor Cody. These are two rough and tumble guys that'll make sure that they beat or at least get points off the teams that they need to get points off to remain in the Premier League.
I got
one more.
Charles the Ketzer.
I got one more shot. Yeah, he's good. He's starting to catch on at AC Milan. Brendan Aronson.
But there's
he is.
Gravenberch long term, hopefully he's gonna get it right. He's not playing too much, but shout out to Bayern if I did those clubs too. Bayern did invest with that Lewandowski money for De Ligt. They got Gravenberch and they got Matthias Tel. They invested in the youth. So and renew with Ibrahimovic, that youngster man. He's a baller. Trust him completely. Jamal Musiala next to him too. But Kane's striker. Kane's coming to Bayern Munich.
He could be. I'm getting more in that camp. I think he's going to move on. Isn't it funny though that very few, I wouldn't have even thought of any of the Spurs signings to be in here. Okay, but I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to say this 6 months from now. I think there will be a Spurs signing in here, right? I think either Ivan Perisic or, we haven't even really talked about Basuma. I bet Basuma kind of wishes, aside from the money, he might be back at Brighton right now. But one of these signings will come in. I just think it takes a little longer to get into Conte ball. It takes a little longer to work your way in. And Ivan Perisic has not been 100% healthy this whole time. So I got to bring up Perisic, but the last one I really wanted to bring up is a name that we'll never mention probably ever again. Bournemouth brought in Marcus Senese, Brazilian center back. He was a good player. Everybody was surprised. Bournemouth did nothing, and then boom, they splashed the cash on one center back. And Bournemouth is not in the relegation zone, so he's doing something right. I have to mention him because we're never probably ever going to mention him again because Bournemouth, I think their luck is going to run out at some point. But that's all I got for random shout-outs. Tagliafico at Lyon.
I have Nuno Tavares too. I said Matheus Nunes. I have Vitinha. Yeah, I want to say Vitinha really deserves that shot.
Yeah, he does.
I just like to end this by saying, on my end, man, definitely next transfer window, we're going to see Diogo Costa leaving Porto with that 60 million release clause. And he's going to be in my top 5 best transfers because whoever gets him, they get one of the best goalkeepers in the future of football, man. Shout out
I'll tell you what.
Sanch, but for leaving in Diogo Costa. I don't like a lot for Sanch, but he did good by putting Diogo Costa early.
He absolutely did. And I'll tell you what, a lot of Manchester United fans were in my mentions saying they were literally
it has
just
to happen.
Kind of saying he's got to go to United, But there were also a lot of Todd Boehly fans or people that were adding Todd Boehly when it comes to this. So, where's Gaga?
Yeah, man. Trust the youth and people. Drop down below, man. Your top 10 for this list, okay, of best transfers this summer. And tell us why. We want to know why. And it's a huge help if you like this video. We will know you want more videos like this with content that we know. We give insights, okay? This is a lot of work that we love to do, community. And again, thank you for being here until now. And don't forget to drop that like, community. It's a huge help. And Breton, see you in the pod, man.
See you in the pod. Couple days.
It's going to be bold. It's going to be out on Monday, community. So weekly pod out every Monday. Spotify, Apple, and on YouTube. Thank